Yeah. So thank you. So I've also shared forwarded the material again. So looking at the topic loss relief. So when we started with basis of assessment, we stated that when a company make profits, it is expected that they pay what tax to the relevant tax authority in their jurisdiction. If it is a company, it will be payable to Federal Inland Revenue Service, where individual taxpayer, it will be payable to their respective internal revenue of their state of residence. I hope we are with me. Hello,
Yes,
can
sir.
somebody? Okay, thank you. Yeah. So it is also because when you make profit, you are expected to pay tax. The government is also magnanimous that it is not all the time that profit will be made. It is possible that the company may also run into loss due to certain scenario or some instances. When that occur as well, the government is also giving us some leverages when there is what loss. So what we want to look at now under here is what how do we how are we going to take over those losses as a businessman or as a whether company or individual. So we all know that when they say loss, if you are looking at profit, you look at when your revenue is more than the expenditure, you have profit. So the opposite of will be when there will be a loss. That is when the total allowable operating expenses, note that word. Not all your expenses that you incur as a businessman will be allowable for tax purposes. But when your total allowable expenses, the one that tax allow, when they are more than your revenue, that is when you have loss. So loss is when arises where the total allowable operating expenses exceeds the total accessible income of a company. I hope we can see my screen, Abby.
No, sir.
Why now? I've
Something.
shared it. It's not there. Okay, I'm coming. Just please. Okay, okay, okay. Can we see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm also going to check. So when your total allowable expenses is more than your income, that is when you have loss. So this loss that we said is available, how do we How are we going to recover it back from where? From the tax authority. So that is what this topic is all about. So also under that information we have the condition to be met before losses can be deducted as contained in section 31 of SITA. So one of the conditions is that it is not just that you assume that, yes, I have made a loss. I must I have to remove it because when you are filing, I have to remove it from my profit. No, the tax authority, that is the relevant tax authority, they must be satisfied. That's that loss has been incurred by By the business from where? From the trade or from from any activity that particular taxpayer is involved in. It must be satisfied that, yeah, that loss is from that activity. That's the first thing. Then the loss must be what? Must be carried forward and deducted from where? Same trade or business without restriction on period. unlike when we talk about capital allowance, we say capital allowance is usually restricted to what percentage? Who can remind us? Capital allowance is usually restricted to a certain percentage. Somebody should remind us that. Hello? What percentage is capital allowance restricted to?
66 to third of the accessible profit.
Yeah, thank you. 66 to third of the accessible profit. But in the case of loss, no restriction for loss. That loss is from the business. You have a right to what? To remove all the loss from your accessible profits. Then also, there's what we call a reconstituted company. A reconstituted company, that is the third condition. A reconstituted company is usually a company that has been operating in Nigeria without incorporation. That is a foreign company, non-resident company. They have been doing business in Nigeria as a non-resident company. You know, when they are doing business in Nigeria, they can also enter into losses. So that, if that company, if they now decide to what, to now, that same business they are doing, they now want to what, incorporate that business in Nigeria, they call such company a reconstituted company. That reconstituted company, they also have a right to what? To recover their loss, to deduct their loss, the loss they made from their old business. They also have a right to what? To recover it from their reconstituted company. So basically, the condition is that it must be satisfied by the board. It's not just the company that will say that, yeah, we have generated a loss. That loss must be what? Something that what the revenue authority has also what? Certified that, yeah, they have looked at all your allowable expenses with your income to know that, yes, truly, this loss is what is available within the company scenario. So that is what, in case of that. So where the major issue now lies is what are the types of loss relief? So that will lead us to types of, yeah?
So you mean board of that?
Hello, I'm with you.
Yes, I want to get what you mean by board. You mean the board of that company?
Okay.
Board of
Board. What that board means is the relevant tax authority. You know, they call them their big main organ. It's called Federal Board of Inland Revenue, State Board of Internal Revenue, Lagos State Board of Internal Revenue. That is the main management, those that make what? The decision, they call them board. But the operational arm is the service. So normally those ones that, normally the staff, the service, but those that make the decision, they are the what? Board. That's what they mean by the board. The relevant tax authority. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, it is, but I have other questions.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, for the third point, you said non-resident company that they are lost. I want to understand, like, when you say loss, do you mean the loss that they made, that they incur generally, like globally, they can?
No. Not globally. That non-resident company, initially, they have been operating in Nigeria as a non-resident. So any operation they make in Nigeria, that operation also is not likely that they may not make loss from that operation. The loss they can relieve is only the one from the operation in Nigeria, not their global losses. Is it clear now?
Yeah, thank you. And also, non-residents means they don't have a building in Nigeria, right?
Not building. They are not incorporated in Nigeria with CAC. They are not incorporated in Nigeria. They don't have RC number. Any company that does not have the RC number, those are the company they call non-resident. But that does not stop them from where? From not operating in Nigeria and from not paying tax in Nigeria. Like Netflix and so on, all these online platforms, majority of them, they make income from Nigeria. So that income they make from Nigeria will also be subject to tax, but they will be what? To be under non-residents as a non-resident company.
Thank you, sir.
Hope that, yeah, you are welcome. So what are the types of loss relief? So there are basically, which is the major thing that we need to look at. Basically, we have two types of loss relief, which is what we have: carry forward loss relief and current year loss relief. Carry forward loss relief, which is governed by section 36(2) of PETA and section 31(2) of CETA, and current year loss relief. That's just what section 36(2) of PETA. So you don't bother yourself with the section. Just know that there are two categories of loss relief: carry forward and current year. We'll be starting with the first one, carry forward loss relief. Please, the carry forward loss relief, that is the kind of law that is applicable to all categories of taxpayer. As we all know, we have two categories of taxpayer, which are either company or individual. Carry forward is applicable to all categories of taxpayer. Whether you are an individual taxpayer or you are a company, you have a right to carry forward your loss. That is, just as the name implies, you can take it forward as you like. So, and in order for you for this loss, what are the conditions that you need to, characteristics of this carry forward is that once it has been established, one of the conditions I said it must have been established that loss occurred by the board. Once it has been established, you don't need again to write to the relevant tax authority. Just remove it from your subsequent assessable profit. You just remove it from your assessable profit, reduce it from it. No written application is needed before it will be granted to the taxpayer. Then another condition, characteristic of this carry forward is that it is relief on what preceding year basis. Note that information, preceding year basis. That means the loss you incur in 2020, it will be available for relief in 2021 on preceding year. Loss of previous year will be available for relief this year, and so on and so forth. That is what that is saying. Then it is what? Relief from where income and from the same source. As a taxpayer, maybe, for instance, I have a business, and if I'm into manufacturing of pure water, the law does not say I must engage in that business alone. I can decide if there is excess money, I can decide to do other businesses with that same company. Maybe I can decide to build houses and will be collecting rent from that house. It's also income to the business. So that's income. So what under this loss now? You cannot, if you are making a loss from your trading activity, that loss that you are making from your trading activity, you cannot relieve it from what? From another source of income. It is only relief from where? From the same source. That means if that loss is from trade, you can only relieve it from where? From trade. You cannot take it, okay, maybe in a year, you have a loss of 100,000 in previous year. So this year now, in 2021, you now have income of, let's say, 30,000. That income now is not from your trade, it's from your other business. That loss cannot be relieved from where? From that income. It must be from the same source. Please, let us take note of that. Yeah. Then this loss that you want to relieve, you have a right to relieve it to indefinitely. As far as what? As far as you have a profit, accessible profit, you can relieve it indefinitely. In the case of what? In the case of a company. Please let us note this information. In the case of a company has a right to relieve their loss indefinitely, in as much as they are still in operation. Why for individual? Individual, you can only relieve your loss for only 4 years. For only 4 years, 4 times. After the 4th year, that loss will become what? Will become lapsed. Know that information. For all category of tax, for company, you can relieve your loss to indefinitely so far the company is still in business, unless when they want to cease operation. We still talk about that. But For individual, you have only what? You can only relieve it for only 4 times. After it has been relieved for 4 times, after that 4 years, any balance that you have after the 4th year will become lapse. You cannot relieve it again. That is for what? Carry forward loss relief. Any question on that? Any
Hello,
question?
sir.
Hello, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So my question is that when you say that they can relieve the loss from their profit, so I want to know, is there a percentage to it? Like now, let's say the loss for last year was like 100 million, and the profit for this year is still 100 million. That's exactly it. Will that
Yeah,
company remove that immediately and take it
yeah,
off,
they will
or
remove
there is a
all.
percentage?
They will remove all, no restriction.
Okay.
No restriction. This only capital allowance that is restricted. They will remove all.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, okay. So that is for what? Carry forward loss relief. Any other question? Okay. Then we proceed. The second category is what? Current year loss relief. Current year, as the name implies, current year loss relief. This one is only applicable to what? Individual taxpayer only. Only individual taxpayer can what? Can enjoy this category of loss relief. And what are the characteristics of this current year? Unlike the first one that I said, you don't need to write. For this current year, there must be what? An application must be written to what? To the relevant tax authority. Because it is not granted automatically. And when you are writing, you must make the application within 12 months. Within 12 months of when that loss occur. So that means well, you must make an application. If you know that, okay, yes, this year now, I have made a loss of 20 million. Within that year, 12-month period, you must write to the relevant tax authority, yes, we are making a loss in this so year, so totaling amount, for them to have an information and confirm. It is not automatically granted. Then it is what? Said earlier. Then this one, the loss shall be what? Available for relief against all sources of income. Note that information. It can be available for relief against all sources of income. Or that's only in that year of what? In the first year. The loss will be available for relief from all sources of income only in the first year. After that first year that you relieve it, subsequent year, it will only be available for relief from only that source. What are they saying there? For instance, you have an individual that is into business. That individual, he has a business, he's doing trade. He also has a building, he has rental income. He also has other income. He also received interest. Maybe he now made a loss from that trading activity. In the first year that is going to relieve that loss, he has a right to relieve it from any other income available in that first year. Only in that first year. He can relieve it from other sources in that first year. After that first year, if he's unable to relieve the total of that loss in that first year, the balance that is going to be carried forward can only be relieved from the same source in which that losses occur. That is the key point under this current year loss relief. Then also, because it's applicable to an individual, I told you, individual, they have only a maximum of 4 years. 4 years to what? To relieve the loss. After the 4th year, any balance will become what? Will become lapse. That is, after the 4th year, if they cannot recover that amount, any balance is what? It will become a loss to the what? To the individual business. Then another important point under this current year is that it is relieved on what? Actual year basis. Unlike the first one, which I said is on what? Preceding year basis. This one is what? On actual year basis. So that means if the loss happened in year 2020, you are going to start relieving that amount from that what? From that same year 2020. Hope is clear to us. If the loss happened in year 2020, it will be available for relief from that same year 2020. That is for what? That's hello?
How is that going to be possible? Like when you make a loss and they're saying that you will leave it that same year that you have made the loss. From where? Which account are you going to leave it?
Yeah, look at it. Yeah, that is why they said you have a right to relieve it from all sources. So that means they expect that may not be your only source of income. If you have another source of income, so that means you have a right also to remove it from that other source of income. Is it clear to you? Hello? 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 Okay, yeah.
Oh, sure.
So because the tax law has given you an opportunity to relieve it from other source. So maybe in that year, that loss, because they believe that if you are doing maybe 3 activities, it's not possible for you to make loss in all those 3 activities. So that means in that first year that you want to bring it, maybe you make loss in your trade. You still have income from your rent and what from your other activity. You have a right to remove that loss that you are making from trade from that other income. That's what that means. I hope it's clear to us. So the next one we have here on page 2, we have differences between carry forward. Yeah, okay, thank you. Differences between carry forward.
Just to clarify, when you mean individual, you mean
I'm with you. Right? I mean what?
I said, when you say individual, does that mean sole proprietor?
Yes, sole proprietorship. Okay. One man business, enterprise, ventures. Yes. They are individual taxpayers that are engaged in business. Not individual like you and I that are not doing business. So you now, if you are in paid employment.
I was thinking, how can I declare that I made a loss so I can quickly do that?
No. Yeah, that's the reason. I know that's where you are going to. You're on your own. Or yours is your name. Government did not recognize you. You and I that we are on paid employment. You cannot say, I'm collecting 30,000 naira. But to collect this, after I collect this 30,000, my transport alone and feeding in a month is 60,000. Government should come and give you want to relieve your loss. No. It is only for what? Individual in what? In businesses that are doing business. Is it clear to us?
Yes, sir.
So we have differences between carry forward and current year. Just what we stated earlier, up from but in a tabular way. So we have what? The first one, losses can be recouped against or income derived from all sources. That is current year. And not restricted to the same trade in the first instance. That means in the first time that you are going to relieve that loss, you have a right to relieve it from all sources of income. But in the case of carry forward, in that year that you want to bring it, you can only relieve it from the same source. Look at the difference. You can only relieve it from the same source. Then for current year, you must apply to the relevant tax authority before it can be granted. While for carry forward, no application is what is needed. It is what automatically granted. Then this one, the third one is very important. I want us to note it. Deduction is to be made after what? Addition of what? Any balancing charge applicable since the relief is what granted against income from all sources. Please, for individuals, we mentioned when we did capital allowance, we mentioned balancing charge. Who can remind me again? What do we say is balancing charge? Somebody to help us. Balancing charge. What is balancing charge? Oh, yeah, now. We treated it last week. Balancing charge. We talk about it when we did capital allowance, where I mentioned balancing charge and balancing allowance. What is balancing charge? Okay. So balancing charge is simply what? An additional income. Where I told you that where there is disposal of work, qualifying capital expenditure, if you are making a gain from that disposal, any gain you make is what is an additional income that will be subject to tax. Which I also told you that it must not be more than what? The total maximum must not be more than the total capital allowance that has already been claimed, if you remember. So another condition for this is that this balancing charge is an income that will be subject to tax. Because the tax law has stated that, yes, you have a right to relieve it from all losses. That means before you remove the loss, you must have added what? Balancing charge to the income of the taxpayer. That is for individual. You must have added balancing charge to his income. That means balancing charge, that means his income will be accessible profit plus balancing charge. His income will simply be, accessible profit S plus balancing charge I hope you can see the Excel, this thing I'm doing.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah? Yeah.
No.
They can't.
And the Excel, the screen I shared, the Excel screen I shared, you can see it.
No, we can only see the material that we've been looking at.
I also shared the Excel now. Okay, wait, okay. Do we have it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can see it now.
Yeah. So look at it. So you can see, I said, what they mean by that is that before you remove that loss, you must have considered your accessible profit. Accessible profit. If you have an amount like this, you now say add balancing charge. You add the balancing charge to it. So what you have here will give you total income. It is this total income now that we have here now that you now say less loss. You now remove the loss, that any amount of loss, let's say SS. So you now remove it to get a value. That is for what? If the taxpayer is an individual. Did you get that? If the taxpayer is an individual. But where the taxpayer is what? Is a company. Hello, you have a question? Where the taxpayer is a company, please, for company, before your loss will be relieved before your what? Before your balancing charge. You can see in the third differences, deduction to be made extend up to what? The amount of accessible income, excluding any balancing charge, which is added only after accessible income from all sources has been what? Aggregated. So what they are saying is that if this particular destination is a company, let's say ABC PLC, please, this balancing charge will not come here. It is from this accessible income that we are going to remove this loss. After you have now removed the loss, if the company is not having any balancing charge, you now add balancing charge, which is this. I hope we got the difference between the two now. Hello?
So I have a question.
Okay. Okay.
So
wait, let her ask her question first. Okay.
Okay, so from your explanation of this balancing charge, Like you said, it's the gain from the disposal of fixed assets.
Yes.
If it's higher than the tax within everything down value.
Yes.
So now, my question is that this same time profit from disposal, companies usually add it as other income, which is profit from sale of their fixed assets. They add it to their income. So
Okay.
when you add it to your income like that and you have the profit, why, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Why
I
would
know
you
what you're saying. Don't
pay
worry.
as balancing charge?
Yeah. The fact, look at it. There are basically you can have profit from sales of fixed assets. You can also have balancing charge. That's the reason why when we did that balancing charge, I mentioned there that what when you have a profit from disposal of an asset, when the sales proceeds is more than the tax written down, the only one that will be balancing charge that will be considered for this tax purpose is only the one that does not what exceed what the actual capital allowance already claimed by the business. That means that portion you only use it for the business. The remaining portion you did not use it for the business. Preparing your account is different from when you are preparing your account for what? For taxation purpose. When you get to, if you prepare your account for taxation purpose, for accounting now, that profit from disposal of fixed asset, it will be added. But when you get to for tax purpose, it will be what? A non-taxable income. That will be what? That will be deducted. So you are that information is only for tax, or is only for accounting purpose, that profit you see there. But for tax purpose, it will be what? A non-taxable income. In which you now look at whether it will give rise to what? Either balancing charge or chargeable gain. I hope it settled your question.
Okay, sir. So in picking, for tax purpose now, in picking the assessable profit, is it just the operating profit minus the operating expense that they pick?
Yes. Operating profit minus operating expenses. The operating expense they are even going to pick is not all the expenses, only what? The allowable expenses.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Somebody was saying something earlier.
I don't understand what you are doing.
Which one? Which one is it that you don't understand here?
Yeah, the differences at first, then also this question that she asked. I don't understand your understanding.
Okay. Yeah. The question she was asking is, that for when you are doing your account, in your account, you normally see after they put on in turnover, and so in some area you see profit from disposal of non-current assets or fixed assets, which is also an income in the account when you prepare your financial account. That profit, she's saying, since there is profit, since that profit is there, that is going to be taxable, that they have put it as part of the profit. We are not supposed to be saying we should calculate balancing charge again. So the difference is that what? That profit you put there is just for what? Accounting. When you are preparing your account. When you are doing your taxation, when you are doing your adjusted profit for tax, that profit you put is what? Is a non-taxable income. It is non-taxable. That is why it will give rise to either what? Balancing charge.
So what you're saying
or chargeable gain. Yeah, it will be removed, yes. Yeah. For tax purposes, it will be removed. So which will now give rise to whether the company is going to have balancing charge or chargeable gain, which we did. In the first example we did when we did capital allowance, we did an example like that. So so when you now have that balancing charge is an additional income, what the rule says that what? If the taxpayer is an individual, because the individual, they have a right to relieve it from all their sources of income. What that means is that they can what? That balancing charge must be considered first before they what? Before they what? They remove their loss. This is it. Let me go back to the first one. So look at the Z now. Look at it. That means if you're an individual, let's say we have Abudu Enterprise. This is an individual now doing business. This individual now, before the individual can relieve his loss, can less his loss, he must have looked at what? All his income, both accessible profit and what? He will also add balancing charge, because the balancing charge is also additional income to get his total income before he will less his loss. That's if that taxpayer is an individual. But where that taxpayer is a company, let's say ABC Limited, you know, it's a company. What the rule is saying is that what? The company, for a company, they can only relieve from the same source. That means this your loss you want to relieve for company. We come before what? Before balancing charge. You will have removed the loss from the accessible profit when you are doing your adjusted profit. Before you now say add balancing charge, which will now be added afterward, after you have removed your loss. Is that clear? That is just the difference they are saying there.
Yes, it is. But I want to say that looking at what we are projecting,
okay,
it favors the individual more than the company.
Yes, so because they want individual to also it favors them, but there are some other benefits that company also will gain. So because individual already, so the favor lies on individual, but there are some other benefits that company will gain, which individual may also not gain.
Yeah, I get that.
Like in the case of, you know, that I told you that if it is individual, they only have 4 years to relieve that loss.
Yes.
But for company, they can relieve it indefinitely. You can see that. So that is the reason why they are putting that all those information, so that you as an individual, you still have something to pay as tax.
Yes. So also, please, for this company, I don't know how this one, I'm not sure it's correct. This company now, when after you've less it from the accessible profits and adding back to balancing charge, you do that tax afterwards.
What did you say?
You do that tax after adding this balancing charge.
Yes. It will now be tax. Any value. So this one now, look at it. Let me put it easier. By the time we get to normal solution, like maybe accessible profit and all those things, you look at it. If you say accessible or less loss relief, what you have now will be net accessible profit. You have a value here. This value you have, when you add the balancing charge, there is going to be a value here. This value is the total income. This value is what they are going to subject to tax. If there is no capital allowance, we are not going there yet, so we'll still go to that one. So this value is what will be subject to tax. They will now apply the applicable tax rate on that value. So let us proceed on. Then number 4, it is claimable only by individual. Current year, I've stated that already. Apply to carry forward individual and company. Then current year on actual year. Note those information on actual year. Carry forward is on preceding year basis. So we now have another thing, priority of loss over capital allowance. Please, it is possible for a taxpayer to have both losses and also capital allowance to be relieved in the same year. So that means you are bringing your loss from previous year, and we also have what? You also have capital. Please, when you have a situation like that, that loss will be relieved before the capital allowance. So that's what they are just saying here. Both are deduction from adjusted profit. However, loss must be relieved before capital allowance is recouped. So you are going to relieve the loss from capital before you talk of capital. So look at it now. Like on that EZ that we did, if this company, if they now have capital allowance now, it will now be before they now get to this total income. After you have added this balancing charge, you now say less capital allowance, which you are going to less here. So any balance you now have will now be what they are going to pay tax on. If, as I told you, this loss is not restricted. If, as at this place, the total amount of loss we have here is happen to be more than this assessable profit, that means the implication of that is that by the time we get to this net assessable profit, we have what? We have a loss. When you have a loss here, so that means there won't be, if they have balancing charge, so if you remove it, it's possible they still have something. But if they don't have anything, that means nothing will be left to relieve from capital allowance. In that case, the company will be what? Will be subject to what is called a minimum tax, which we are still going to talk about. Just don't let us go there now. But in this scenario now, this is how it is done. You first of all remove the loss. After that, you now bring capital allowance. And when you are bringing capital allowance, don't forget, it will be restricted to what? 66 to third of what? This assessable profit here. You restrict it. Amount you are going to remove here will be restricted to 66 to third of accessible profit. Then you also need to note that where there are some companies that they don't restrict, we don't restrict their capital allowance. Who can remind us what are those companies? Companies that their capital allowance are not restricted.
Those in agriculture.
Agriculture and which one?
Construction.
No. Construction is yeah. Manufacturing and what? Agricultural business, agro allied. Only those two categories of company are company that's what? Their losses are not what? Are not restricted. You claim in full.
Losses are big capital allowance.
Capital allowance, sorry. Loss capital allowance, yeah. So that is for that. Then also, we have what? The next one, we have carryback of loss at cessation of business. I also made mention of something. Yeah.
Sorry, sir, before you proceed. This loss relief and capital allowance, is it before you disallow expenses or after disallowable expenses?
After you have disallowed, before you arrive at this assessable profit. Assessable profit is profit you have adjusted. It's called assessable profit or adjusted profit. It's the same name. You can either call it assessable profit or adjusted profit. Profit you have adjusted by removing your what? Allowable and what? Non-allowable expenses. So this loss and capital allowance will come after you have done all those adjustments. Is it clear?
Sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the next one. Yeah?
No, I said thank you, sir. It's good.
You are welcome. The next one is what we have a carryback of loss at cessation of business. If you remember last week when I rounded up capital, I also mentioned something about carryback of what? Capital allowance, which is what? Terminal capital allowance. Who can remind us what I said about that? Terminal capital allowance. I said something about that terminal capital allowance. Capital allowance you have as at the date you want to cease your operation. There's something that will happen to it. Somebody to remind us? Anybody? Where I told you that the terminal capital allowance, you have a right. The law give you a right to relieve it from your what? From accessible profits you have generated. Before what? Before that year of cessation. Can we remember? So I mentioned this. It will be relieved from the accessible profit, from your taxable profit you have generated before the year of cessation. In which we now stated that assuming the company has paid tax for those years, that means the tax authority is going to refund them that money, which will be available for 5 years backward, which is, I mentioned that last week. But in the case of loss relief, please, when a company is ceasing operation, any loss they have at cessation, that loss has become what? An automatic loss for the company. Nowhere they can relieve it from again. They cannot, it's not like capital allowance that they have to carry backward. It will be what? An automatic loss to the company. Do we get that? it will be what? An automatic loss to the company. That information will be
Because
what?
it's preceding, right?
Yeah?
Because it's on preceding basis, right?
Yeah, because it's on preceding. So when they now want to cease operation, the last year, any loss that is available in that year or they are bringing that they are yet to recover, that loss, nowhere they can remove it again. And they don't, because they are not going to be in business again. So that loss will be what? Will be a loss that they have to bear. They are going to bear it as far as what the tax authority is concerned. So you may be asked for the advantages of what? Of loss relief. So major advantage that it will help you to reduce the amount of your total profits. So after reducing your total profit, that means what? It's going to also help you to what? To reduce your tax liability. So that means if you are using it to reduce amount of your total profit, it will also be used to what? To reduce your tax liability. So which is what? Which is that? So those are the information we need to know as far as our loss relief is concerned. So let us go to an illustration to illustrate that. So we'll be starting with question number 1 on page 2. Question number 1 on page 2. Looking at the question, we have Kunle, a sole trader, commenced business at Lakowe on 1st March 2016 and make up account to certain dates. The adjusted profit and loss of the business for the first few years of trading are detailed below. We have period to 31/05/06/2017. We have loss. Year ended 31/06/2018. We have profit. Year ended 31/06/2019 profit. Year ended 31/05/2020 profit. We have the information. Then they require compute the total income of the taxpayer for the relevant year of assessment. So I now want to ask us now, looking at this particular scenario, what category of taxpayer is this person?
Individual.
Individual. Yeah, it's an individual. So what type of loss relief is available to individual? Yeah? Oh yeah, now I mentioned it earlier. What type of loss relief is available to individual? Somebody should answer now.
What current year?
Yeah, both are applicable to individual taxpayer. Both are applicable to individual taxpayer. So looking at this one, how do we now know they want to adopt for this particular taxpayer now? Because if you look at this taxpayer does not have any other source of income. The only source of income is the income from trade. Abi? Based on the information given to us. The only source of income is the income he's making from his trade. He has no other source of income. As a result of that, he has no right to say you want to what? You want to use what? Current year loss relief. He will be obliged to use what? Carry forward loss relief. Do we get that? Do we get that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So because he has no other sources of income. So as a result of that, he's going to be bound to use what? Carry forward loss relief. So we have established that, so we are going to use carry forward loss relief. So the next thing for us, after we have established that, so the next thing is to now compute what? His tax liability. In the computation of the tax liability, the first thing, we have the name. As I told you, the name is very important. That is it's an individual name. Then you now go to the requirement of the question. Computation of tax liability. After the name, we have a computation of tax liability of total income. We have to, they did not answer tax liability, they said total income for relevant year of assessment. Total income. I don't know the year yet, but I said computation of total income for 2017 to 2021. How do I know that it will extend to 2021? Let us go back to the question. If you look at the question have year ended 30/05/2020 as the last information given to us. And if I have a year ended 2020, what will be the tax year relating to that? 2021. That is why we are able to know that the last year will be 2021. So after that, So after that, the next thing for us is that we don't analyze this question. This question is on commencement. Kunle, a sole trader commenced business at Lakwe on 1st March 2016 and make up accounts to. So what is his accounting date? So we have here, let me do something here. Commencement date. What is the commencement date? Is equal to what date? What date is the commencement date? 1st March 2016. 1/3/2016. And what is the accounting date? Accounting date annually is what? 34. If you go to the question, you see year ended 31st May annually. 31/05 annually. So since we know this information, we can now proceed. Looking at this, the first tax year, we have tax year. We have the basis period. Then we have the assessable profits. The first tax year, as far as commencement is concerned, will be what year? When you commence in 1/3/2016, what will be the first tax year?
2016.
2017 now, year after. Abi? 2017, year after. In which the basis period will now be from where? From the date of commencement, which is 1/3/2016 to when?
31st.
31/05/20 what? 2016. Still 2016 now. March, we can get to May before. You cannot put, if you put 2017 here, that means it will not be preceding to this.
We said 2017.
It is still the same 2016.
But initially, you're saying 2017.
For tax year.
Nobody's tax year now. That is tax year. Tax year. Tax year. So you can see in the solution, that's where we are 1/3/2016 to 31/5/2016. For that period, you now let us go to the question. They gave us a loss period to 31/05/2017. They said period. Look at it, period to 31/05/2017. Which is a loss of how much is the loss? Who can tell me?
1,289.
Yeah.
400.
Loss 1,289,400, which is a loss. Loss of 1,289,400. A loss. And looking at this loss now, this is, but I needed only from March to May. Abi?
Yes.
Abi? Which is
Yes.
how many months? March to May 2016 is how many months?
3 months.
3 months. And this information we are giving, this 1,289,400, start from where? From that date of commencement, from 1/3/2016 to 31/05/2017. How many months is this loss?
15.
Yeah?
15. Yes. 15 months.
15. Do we all agree it's 15 months? 15 months. And we only need 3 months. So you just say 3 divided by 15, multiply by this amount. Will give us this value here. If you go to the solution, you will see 3 divided by 15 multiplied by this amount. We go 2,578 what? 880. 880. So that is why you now bring it here. So because it's a loss, you now say loss. So you now put it in jacket. 257,880 as a loss. But this one will give you minus. But if you look at this, you see, we have it in jacket. In that year, in 2017, this loss, does the man have any profit?
You don't mean by BP.
Yes.
What did you say?
What does BP and ASP represent?
Basis period, accessible period. All this information are here. Okay, yeah. Basis period, accessible profit. So, if you look at that 2017, this man does not have any profit where he can relieve this loss from.
Yeah.
So what will happen is that what this loss will now be carried forward. You now say loss carried forward. You now carry forward to the same amount. That 257,880. You repeat that amount. Because he has no income. So that means what? His total income will be what? Will be nil. So that means this man is not going to pay tax. For which year? For 2017 year of assessment. His total income will be nil because he has no other source of income. Is that clear?
Yes,
after 2017, the next tax year will be what? 2018. In 2018 now, 2018 will now be, we stop at 310520. Look at it, 2018. The basis period for 2018 will now be a day after the last accounting date, Abi?
Yes.
Which is what? One what? 2016? 2016? To when?
31/5.
To the accounting day. 31/05/2017. Yeah. This information too, we can get it from this what? Period to Abi? We can get it from this 15 months. We can get it from this 15 months. How many months is this 2018?
12 months.
12 months. You just say 12 divided by 15 multiplied by this value. So if you go to the solution, you see it there. 12 over 15 multiplied by that value will give you 1,031,520. 1,031,520. So when we go to 2018, in 2018, the man does not make any profit. But he has a loss yet to be relieved from where? From 2017, Abi?
Yeah.
Is that not so? He has a loss of 257,830. So that loss, you first of all bring that loss. You can see loss brought forward. Look at it, loss brought forward 257,880. You first of all bring that loss. In 2018 also, the man is also making another loss of what? 1,031,520. You add the two together, that will give you the total loss. This is total loss. This man does not have anywhere to recover this loss. So that means, and it does not have any profits. In that 2018 too, his total income will still be what? Nil as well. It will be nil. So this loss now, this total loss now, will now be carried forward to next period. After 2018, the next period will be what? 2019. The next year will be 2019. Basis period will be from where? 16 what? 2017 to when?
31st May.
To when? 31 May 2018. If you go to the question, you can see 16/27 to 31/05/2018. If you go to the question, let us go back up. Question gave us year ended 31/05/2018. The man is now making what? A profit.
Profit.
Abi?
Yes.
So a profit. So you now write down the profit. You say accessible income 545,205. Before this 2019, the man has loss yet to be relieved of how much?
128.
Of this amount. 128,900. You now bring that loss. After you have written the income he made, you now bring that loss. Loss brought forward in 2019 will be that value 128,900. We want to remove 128,900. But the man in 2019 is only able to make what? 545,205. So the implication of that is that what? The only amount we can relieve, loss relief in the year, will only be what? This amount.
549.
So you now remove this 545,205 here. You also remove it from the accessible income column. So that means this man now, total income will now be this amount minus this amount. Total income will now be what? If you remove this from this, it will now become what? 0. It will be nil. Because the man, why? That means in 2019 as well, the man will also not pay what? Any form of tax. Why? Because he still have what? Loss. Yet to still be what? Yet to still be relieved, which is going to relieve here. So total income will still be what? Nil. As a result of that loss. So if you now remove this loss, but this is not the total amount we want to relieve. We want to relieve 128,900. If you remove 128,900 from 549, 545,205, that means this man still has, this taxpayer still has 744,195 loss to be what? To be carried forward to next year. You know, I told you, under this category of losses, the man has what? A right to carry his loss forward to what? Indefinite. 4 years for individual. Yes, 4 years for individual. Yeah. 4 years for individual. So after that, the next tax year will be 2020. Abi?
Yes.
2020. 2020. In year 2020, we have what? The basis period will be a day after the 1/6/20, 18 to 31/05, 20 what? 2019. If you go to the question, the question for that period, we have to assess profit. Is able to make a profit of 210,945. He made a profit of what? 210. Look at it. You now bring the profit, accessible profit, 210,945. This profit is not going to pay tax on all. Why? Because he still has a loss yet to be what? To be relieved by him. This loss now, you now bring that loss. That loss we said we want to carry forward, which is how much? 744,195. So you now bring loss brought forward 744,195. Out of this 744,195, how much can we relieve in this year? You can only relieve this 210,945. You say loss relief in the year 210, you remove it. You also remove it from here. So because we want to remove 744,195, so that means you cannot remove everything. We'll still be left with what? Carry forward of what? 533,250. So total income for this man will be what? 0. It will still be nil because what? He's not also going to pay any tax. Also in that what? In that 2020. 2021 year of assessment will be a day after the 1/6/2019 to 31/05/2020. In 2021, if you go to the question, we have what? Accessible profit 106,174, which we have. You bring in accessible profit. Loss brought forward. How much can we relieve? 106,174. So, and we have been told that what? He has only 4 years to relieve. So then, if you look at each of these loss, this first loss of 257,880. Look at it, oh. That first loss of 257,880. He has a right to relieve it 1, 2, 3, 4. Abi, this is the last year.
Yeah.
This will be the last. This will be the last year. If you compare this amount, 257,880, to what he has relieved, you will see that he has relieved more than that amount. Is that
Yeah.
not so? So that means what? As at this 2021, no amount of this loss is still available here. The one that is still available here is what? Is this one? Is this 1031520? Hope is clear to us. So that means there is nothing. Yeah?
Please explain it again. 103 something.
Okay. This loss, the first loss came in 2017. And we have been told that he has only 4 years. So that means he's going to relieve it from 2018, 2019, and 2020 and 2021. Those are the, because it's what? It's an individual. So if he's going to relieve this first loss, if you look at the amount he has in 2019, which is the second year, he's able to relieve 545,205, which is even more than this loss. Abi? That means he has relieved the total of all this loss. As at when? As at this date of what? 2019. So the implication of that is that as at that 4 years, nothing is available for him from this loss to be relieved again as at this 2021. Hope we got that.
But please, because I'm trying to get what you said concerning that 545 that you already relieved, like I don't understand.
Okay.
And also, this
545 is a profit.
Okay.
You are saying what?
I know that he has 4 years to
yes, to relieve, yes.
So
yeah.
This carrying forward 427. I didn't we have 2022. He will not be carrying it forward, right?
Which one? He's going to wait, don't worry. Because look at it. This particular amount came in as he started relieve it from which year?
Okay, you know,
from 2018.
You're not sharing all your full screen. So what we are actually seeing.
Yeah, we don't know what you're doing.
I'm showing it now.
No.
We are seeing the Excel.
It's the Excel we've been seeing. So all those ones not been seeing.
Okay, it's only the Excel you are seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we are following from the solution table.
Okay.
We can see it now. I can see it now.
So look at it. This first loss now came in what? 2017. If you count 4 years, that will be 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. That means this amount of 257,880, he has up to what? 2021 to recover it. If after 2021 is unable to recover this amount, this first one, any balance available will not be what? Will become lapsed for this first one. But what I'm saying is this first one now, if you look at as at 2019, how much did he relieve? He relieved 545,205. If he's going to relieve 545,205, the belief is that what? The first loss will come in before what? Before the next one. That means he has already relieved what? The totality of this amount. As at when? As at this 2019.
2019.
Yeah. Because in 2019, he relieved 545,205. In which, out of that amount, this 257,880 is part of it. And the balance of this one that came in 2018. So that means that at 2021, nothing is remaining for this loss. So the man will still have loss brought forward from here. Loss relief is going to relieve the entire amount. Then carry forward will be the difference. Then total income will still be nil. Assuming this question now proceed to 2022 now, look at it. This loss that we have here, this 103,500 is the one. The remaining of this 103,520 is this amount. Abi? Is that not so?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is this. The remaining is this amount. So if you also count 4 years after this date, which is what? 1, 2, 3. The next year will be what? 2022. If after 2022, this amount cannot be relieved from any profit they give us, any balance, you cannot transfer it to 2023. That's what they are saying.
Okay, sir.
Did
So
we
we
get
are
that?
only stopping in 2021 because the question has restricted us to that.
Yes.
Even though
The question,
we have a
yes.
lot.
Yeah, the question was restricted us to that information. So can we see my Excel screen? I want to do something. I want to experiment. You are seeing only the question. Okay, look at it. Okay, I'm coming. Wait. I want to do something now. As at that, look at that information. I want to transfer. Can you see the Excel sheet now?
Yes, sir.
As at 2021, this is what we have. I'm coming though. I will transfer it here. I want to experiment something now. As at 2021, we have loss carry forward of how much? How much? 427. 427,076. Assuming the question now gave us information for 2022. Maybe for 2022, we now have accessible profits. Accessible profit of, let's say, 250,000. That means the only amount we can loss brought forward will be how much? This amount, Abi?
Yeah.
How much can we relieve? Loss relief. We can only relieve how much?
250,000.
250,000. You can only minus 250,000. So that means this balance, if you minus 250,000 from this, the implication is that this balance is equal to this plus this. This balance of loss of 177,076. Please, when you get to 2023, this amount will not be transferred here. It will become lapsed. It will become lapsed here. Why? Because if you count from the day that this loss came in, from this 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, as at 2022, it is expected that that loss should be what? Should be relieved. Did you get that? I just use this one to illustrate. But this one is only applicable because this taxpayer is an individual. But if it's a company, they have a right to relieve it indefinitely. So far, they are still in what? In business. Any question? So any question? So let me go back to it. So that is for the what? The first solution. So we also have another solution there. Question number 3. The question number 2, we can check that on our own. The solution is there. It's similar to that one, but that is for company. That one relates to company. The question number 3. So this one is very important. We have Mr. Gunners provide you with the following information in relation to his income. Adjusted profit or income. We have trade and rent. We have for each year. They now say require show the loss available for relief for the relevant year of assessment if he took advantage of his rental income. You can see in the case of this one, this man, this taxpayer is what? What category of taxpayer is this person?
Individual.
Individual as well. But he has what? Various sources of income. Abi? Unlike the first one. He has what? Income from trade. He's also having income from rent.
Yes.
So because this one has various sources of income, so that means he can what? He can adopt the second method, which is what? The current year loss relief. Can you see the difference when you can adopt current year and carry forward loss relief now? So this man now, for this question number 3, we are going to apply what? Current year loss relief. Please, let us take note of that. If you are applying current year loss relief, we have the name in the screen, Mr. Gunners. Computation of total income. They said we want to determine total income. Look at it. Total income for relevant year of assessment. Here we say 2021 to 2024. So its income is also going to be assessed to tax on preceding year basis. Note that it's going to be assessed to tax on preceding year basis. So that means this trading income we have as at year ended 31/3/2020 will be applicable to tax from which year?
2021.
Yeah, 2020. The first tax year will now be 2021. In 2021, we have what? What are the income? We have what? Income is in 2021 is making income from 2 sources. Trade 25,000, rent 50,000. Abi?
Yes, sir.
Is that also income from trade and rent? That will give us his total income will be 75,000, which is this value. Because we are adopting current year loss relief, and I told you that current year loss relief is applicable on what basis?
Correct.
What basis is current year loss relief? Actual year basis. Actual year.
Yeah.
Actual year. Actual year basis. If you go to the question for the year 2021, look at this year ended 30/3/2021, which is the year 2021. This man is making a loss from which activity?
From trade.
From trade of what? 200,000 naira. This loss of 200,000 will now be brought in this year of assessment of 2021 because what we are looking at what? Current year loss relief. Actual year. It is actual year. That year is when. So you now bring that loss, current year loss. How much? 200,000 naira.
200,000.
Then in the first year, we have been told that the man has a right to relieve the loss from where? All sources of income in the first year. So what is his total income? 75,000 from all sources in that year. So how much is he going to relieve? He will look at income from all sources, which is how much? 75,000. Loss relief in the year will still be 75,000. We are going to remove it from here, 75,000. So loss carry forward will now be 200 minus 75. That will give us 125. That means in 2021, taxable income will be what? Nil. You can see because of that loss he relieved from his all sources of income. The income is making from rent is also not going to pay any tax in that year 2021. Is that clear? Yes, so we now go to the second year. After 2021, we have 2022. In 2022, according to the question, we have what? In 2022, there is a loss from trade, which we have what? Adopted using what? Actual year basis. Abi? Yes, this one now, this 200 loss has been adopted using actual year basis. The only thing we are left with now is what? 50,000 income from where? From rent. Abi? Yes. So in 2022, he's only going to state his rental income of 50,000. And the rule is that what? After the first year, you can only relieve that loss from where? From only the source where that loss is being generated from. This loss of 200,000, which we are having a 125,000 balance, is coming from which source?
Trade.
From trade. But in 2022, it's only generating income from rent. So please, in 2022, it cannot relieve that loss from rent. It can only relieve it from only that source of income.
Sir,
Do you get it? So that, yeah?
sorry, before we proceed, I just want to be clear on this. This
Okay.
profit of trade and rent is from 2020. So the tax people, it will be accessible to tax in 2021, right?
Yes, on preceding year, yes.
Okay. So now this loss of 2021, they have not
Yeah.
even done their account. I mean, they have not. It's not accessible to tax yet. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. The authority
No.
have come to assess the company now, which is 2021. So the account of 2021, has it been prepared for them to know if it's a loss or a profit?
Yeah, good question. Look at it. This is it. That's 2021. Look at it. Account of 2021. You have year ended 30/3/2021. As at this date of year ended 31/3, you have up to 2021. This account for the year ended 2021 is also due in that year 2021 for preparation. You know, these dates enter one another. This year ended is also due in that year 2021. The authority, as at that March, the company will have what? Prepare their account to know whether they are making a loss or profit. Before. So when they are now assessing them, when they are charging them to tax in that year 2021, they have already, what they are looking at is what? They will know, because when you are doing your transactions, you don't need to, it is not until when you prepare your account that you know whether there is a profit or a loss. Not this loss we are talking about is loss that has been established. That is, you already know that loss is established, that there is going to be a loss from trading activity of 200,000. As this loss, you know that this amount, if it's a profit, is supposed to be assessed to tax as at when? 2022.
Yes, sir.
But because for current year, it is that year that loss occur, that you are going to bring it in for relief. It is that year, that same year, you consider it for relief. So the implication of that is that the tax authority is also going to wait until when the account for what? For this 2022 will be prepared. If we what? For a company that has what? For an individual that has various sources of income, before it will be assessed. That's why the income will be what? That's why individuals that are in business, they assess them on preceding year. That's why they do, because as at that next year, you already know if you are going to make a loss in that year or not. So if you now look at that 2022, please, that loss of 125 that we are bringing, that loss will not be relieved. Loss brought forward 125, because that loss is from trade. Loss relief will be dash. We cannot relieve it because it's not from the same source. So loss carry forward, you still carry that amount of 125. Taxable income will not be that. They will only pay income. They will only pay tax on what? On the rental income. Then after 2022, we have 2023. In 2023, we have income from the two sources. Look at it. We have income from trade and from rent. Income of 10,000 from trade. Look at it, 10,000 from trade, and rental income of 50,000, giving us a total income of 60,000. Loss brought forward is what? 125,000. Please, don't remove the entire totality of this. You cannot remove the totality of this 60,000. Why? Because this 60,000 is not from where? From trade. Yes. How much is only from trade? 10,000. So this month, loss relief, we can only relieve 10,000. This amount of 10,000 only in this year. You transfer it to this 10,000. That means taxable income will be what? 50,000 for 2023. In 2024 now, in 2024, we also have what? Income, 20,000 and 50,000. Income of 20,000 and total income is 70,000. we have a loss brought forward of this. Income from out of this 70,000, how much is from trade?
20,000.
Only 20,000. That means in this 2020, you can only relieve 20,000. You transfer it. So because this taxpayer is an individual, look at it now. And this man has been relieving this loss from where? He has started relieving this loss from where? From 2021. 2021. And he has only how many years? 4 years. Abi?
Yes,
If you count 1, 2, 3, 4. That means any balance from this 200,000 that it cannot relieve as at when? As at this 2024. It will not be what? It cannot be transferred to what? To the next period. So that you can see, instead of putting this place now, you can instead of putting loss carry forward, what do we have here? Loss what? Labs.
Yeah.
So that means this loss, nowhere. You cannot take it. When you get to 20, $25 now. Assume you have information about this is the last year. Is supposed to. Please, it is only that restriction is only applicable to individual. Before, it is also applicable to company, but it has been eliminated by the Finance Act. So it's not only individual that has, so that still have that restriction of what? Of losses for 4 years. So any question? Hello?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I thought you said to make the loss lapse, it has to be 4 years after the year the loss was made. Or
This is 4 years. No, 4 years that you started relieving. Not 4 years after when it. Look at the first one we did. Look at it. You see it now. This loss was made in which year? Let us go to that question. Look at it. 2017. Abi? But we brought it in what? 2018. It was, yeah. Look at it. It was in this 2017, period to 2017, which was for what? For 2017 year of assessment as well. They gave us that information for 2017. But if you can't, when did you start relieving that loss? It's from where? We start relieving it from 2018 in the case of this one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. But in the case of this last one, the loss occurred in 2021. And we started relieving it as at when? When did we start? Yeah, we started. So that means it is the number of years we start counting from where? From where you start relieving the loss. Do you get it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So that will now give you the 4. So as at this day, the loss will now become lapse. Any other question? So please let us go through that question number 2. The solution is there. If you have any challenge with it, you can ask me. So that one relate to company. So the question number 2. So any question? Any question? Yeah? Any question from anybody?
No question from me.
Yeah, okay. In the absence of no question, so please, we are going to stop the class.